Do you want to tell us a bit about Noughts and Crosses?
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Okay, well, we're going to have to do this without any of the visual aids that I spent ages preparing.
Hang on, no, I might be able to get them up on my laptop.
Fine. Okay, so for those that don't know, and there probably aren't many of you because I've been promoting it pretty aggressively on all Well, now you know whose house we're at. Yeah, we've been promoting it across our social media.
How does this work?
We played a joint game.
Windows for signage. I've just lost on time. Right, just
Get the video.
so
that
Cameron,
one.
what is Noughts and Crosses?
So I'm glad you asked. Back in April, we went to Manchester for the National Student TV Awards, and we had some spare time while we were there, and we decided to play a giant game of Noughts and Crosses across Manchester.
This is the board.
This is the
That is
board.
the board.
The story of sort of where the idea happened is that Cameron and I believe, had gone to Liverpool to see Come From Away, a very good musical, would recommend. And then on the train back, well, the journey back was slightly interesting. It involved a train connection in Leeds that was technically impossible.
Yep.
And our
Always
train,
good.
the train we were connected to being cancelled and uncancelled on the way, and then our train picking up delay, which meant that Cameron was telling me all about various ideas he had for location-based games that he'd come up with, while I was very much ignoring him because I was stressing out about the prospect of us getting stranded in Leeds. We did not get stranded in Leeds, and eventually what came out of it was this.
So this is a concept that I've been workshopping for many years before I came to YSTV even. We had some London-based games that I did a little bit of work on and never got anywhere with. And we've been throwing around ideas for a while about what we could do in York. But it seemed such a good opportunity with everyone in Manchester. And we were talking about different games we could play there. And I just went, Noughts and Crosses. We're doing Noughts and Crosses. We can
How are we doing it?
3x3 grids.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah. So that's where the idea came from. The other thing to note is, obviously, since I first thought, let's do kind of city scale board games, let's do Monopoly across London, or kind of create a board game out of the tube map, that sort of thing. I think
Frozen
we may have lost
again.
Corey again, and the TV. That's unfortunate.
Oh, I was mid-sneeze, for fuck's sake.
Excellent.
Hi, Corey.
Go direct to Cameron's
God,
laptop,
going, please,
Jamie.
go.
We're going
away.
Cameron's. Oh, Cameron's MacBook's frozen.
Oh, good.
No, it wasn't.
Anyway, so
Yes, in the interim, Jetlag the game happened, so that's a channel that plays games a lot like this that we took a lot of inspiration from.
yeah, we credited it as being inspired by in the credits.
So we're going to chat through some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. The last episode, I believe, is coming out tomorrow. The first two are out now on YSTV.
So if you're watching this before tomorrow and it's not out yet, pause the stream now, wait for it to come out,
And then come back tomorrow.
yes,
Because there are
we
spoilers
are
ahead.
about to spoil the whole thing.
Yeah. So I guess the first thing to talk
I mean-
about... Go on, Corey.
Sorry, I was going to say, wasn't the finished game board spoiling it already?
Yeah, we just didn't
Whoops.
say it was the finished game board, but there you go.
Oh,
That's
you
what
said it
happened.
now.
Well, there we go. Now,
So,
So now we've definitely spoiled it.
as you can see, it was what at one point would have been a significant shock. It was a Crosses win in that diagonal there.
what's
we're going
that
to talk about...
supposed to mean?
You spent 25 minutes on
On
a
a
bus.
bus.
You know what that is. Anyway, we're going to chat through some of the behind the scenes, how we developed the game, because we spent... that was kind of end of March. That was the 23rd of March. We were in Liverpool. NASTA was the 5th to the 7th of April. So we had the 2 weeks of the Easter holiday
To develop the game.
Try and make this work. So the first thing we had to do was come up with the actual board. And what you see there is nice and neat.
It wasn't always like. Also, it's wrong.
Yeah,
It
this is
wasn't
just for
always
Untitled.
like this.
These are some of the early boards.
Thing
Uh,
of beauty.
And
is
it was
beautiful.
actually thanks to Corey complaining that these were so ugly when I
I
initially
just looked at it and
started.
went, it needs to be more straight. That was
asking
like
for
one
contestants.
note.
Because we tried to stick to streets, so
Yeah.
that we had the idea of across that street is another square. But we just could not make it square because Manchester is not based on a grid system. And then Cameron went, should we just make them squares? And we made them squares.
And we managed to find a way to do that kind of kept all the challenges and landmarks where they were.
Because Cameron had essentially done a lot of research and found various locations where it could have interesting challenges.
Yeah, do you want to talk about the challenges?
Yeah, so we can chat through the ones that we actually played first. So I think in the first round, Ali and Alex went for the bottom right, so they
Yes.
had to perform, write and perform the YSTV musical.
So they had to
write a song.
perform a musical number all about YSTV. They had to have 2 verses and a chorus. I will spoil it a bit. Originally, there was a rule that it had to be 2 minutes. We realized that was too fucking hard, so we
That
retconned
happened
it.
a couple of times, which we'll get
Yes.
into how exactly we manipulated the game. Not
Meanwhile,
not in a
Jamie and
bad way.
Corey had to go to the Science and Industry Museum, get the thing wire where you put the thing through without touching it.
Beep, 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 beep.
Again, another retcon is they were Muppets and misread the challenge and thought they only had to do 1 display when there were 3. We intended them to do all 3, but then in the edit we retconned it.
We
because
also took so fucking long that it didn't matter.
yes.
Yeah. We'd also been there the day before. I'm sure we've said this many times, and we were there the day before as well.
And me and Cameron were very careful to not even slightly mention that display.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think I played with it the day before, so...
we were right around there.
Yes. Then the middle right challenge was to invent a new soft drink, which was to acquire some ingredients, a bottle of sparkling water and ingredients which cost no more than £5 together, go to the Vimto statue, there's a statue of a Vimto bottle in Manchester, don't question it, mix them together
is.
and drink it, which Ali and Alex lovingly did. Meanwhile, Jamie and Corey got stuck on a solid bus for 20 minutes,
Yep.
and then eventually made it to the middle squares challenge, which was to, quote, facilitate international
I think that was your
diplomacy.
wording, which was lovely.
Yes.
It
Which is
is-
to go to, eventually, they had a choice of countries. They went to the consulate of Italy with an item from Italy. They eventually asked us, would a pizza from Greg's count as being from Italy? And we said yes.
So we got a pizza from Greg's.
And then do a 1-minute speech in Italian, and you'll have to watch part 2 for it. It's a thing of beauty.
It is amazing.
It has
Watch-
translated subtitles.
Watch part 2. It is a thing of beauty.
Let's speed
Also,
run the
after,
rest.
between filming this and it coming out, I did go to Italy, and I was a little on edge. oh, they're gonna know.
They didn't.
Luckily.
They also have
yeah.
not.
Just to speed run some of the others, in the top right we had perform a stand-up set outside the
Which was a
outside the comedy
deciding
club.
one of the game.
It
That,
was.
that was the final one, yeah.
In top middle, we had go on a shopping spree and buy different items from different shops. My favourite challenge was the top left, which you two got to do,
Yes.
which was go bridge bowling at Green
Which
Gate Bridge.
Cameron wrote in the notes, go bridge bowl, and I went, what the fuck are you on about?
Yeah, this one I have no
Which-
idea where in my mind this
Let-
idea came from.
Let's not give away too much, but let's just say we didn't find a ball. We had something ball-shaped.
The specification was to find a round
spoiled
thing
the outcome
and a
anyway.
bowling pin shaped thing, and
Knock
them
over
at
the
either
bowling
ends
pin
of the
shaped
bridge.
thing with the round thing at least 15 meters away.
Watch the episode. It's a thing of beauty.
It's wonderful.
Again.
And
Should we talk
just
about-
a still frame from that episode is still my profile picture on Slack. 'cause
Yes.
It's such a brilliant just frame.
So
Yes.
obviously there are
That's
two
just me.
squares there that we never went to, so we can exclusively reveal on Untitled what those challenges would
Yes.
have been.
Yes.
So middle
Middle
left
head.
was to go to the People's History Museum, and they have a lovely game called Banner Bingo, where you can collect a bingo card, and there are various banners / posters around the museum, and on the bingo card there are things that are on those posters, and would have had to get a line.
Right, okay.
So that was very nearly, if Ali and Alex hadn't, spoiler alert, frozen that square,
You would have had to
that
do
would
that.
have been your kind of last challenge.
Right,
and then the
okay.
middle bottom one,
Which
which
no
no
one-
one played, was to play ping pong.
Oh, I would have loved that one.
We spent a long time arguing over how long the rally should be.
And whether we should even
I
have
think
that one at
Did I
all.
argue for 21 rather than 15?
And then I went, that's too hard.
Yes, I agree.
Something along those lines. We nearly our favorite challenge, which we had to cut.
Oh, yes, so there were a few that we kind of, for one reason or another, couldn't use.
My favorite one was that at the Manchester Central Library, there's a statue of William Shakespeare.
Yes.
And what we would had to do is go up to Mr. Shakespeare himself and recite a passage from one of his works from memory. And if you get it wrong, you had to start over. We cut it because the library wasn't open on Sundays.
Yep.
Not
really
ideal.
annoying.
Oh,
We've also got eat a marmalade sandwich.
That was because at Bridgewater Hall they were doing like an orchestral showing of Paddington.
Paddington,
on that
naturally.
day.
We also have passed the Turing test with Turing.
Yeah, this became one of the landmarks instead. That was very nearly instead of the soft drink.
Right, yeah.
And it was going to be, there was a website which would match you with either another person or an AI, and you'd have to guess what you were talking
We
to.
cut that one
a few
because
guess
on
correctly
camera it wasn't brilliant.
Yeah.
Hold a trial at the Crown Court, or a variation of that one that we definitely put in was break the law in front of the Crown
Yeah.
Court.
Yeah, which obviously didn't go ahead. And then get
that
a
was-
high score.
At NQ64, which is a bar that has lots of arcade machines in it.
Oh,
We
right.
cut that one because
Oh,
you
I
had to
love
pay for
that.
entry.
Right, okay, that
Oh.
makes
It
sense.
was just a bit too much.
Prod budget.
John, do you wanna
The
tell us-
other major thing that never happened in
thing.
the game that we could have had was there is a freeze mechanic where a
Yes.
freeze square can be frozen.
So, should we talk a bit about playtesting before we get onto this? And kind
Sure.
of, we wrote the
So-
challenges, we had the map, and then we sat down and played a lot of noughts and crosses.
Over FaceTime.
Because the interesting thing about this is it's not like normal noughts and crosses. Because in normal noughts and crosses, whoever goes first has a massive advantage.
So we
in a game
negated
like this.
that by having both people start at the same time.
Yeah. So every round, each team makes a move, and although one team will complete their challenge before the other, as far as the game is concerned, they're happening at the same time. And that was an interesting variation of noughts and
Because
crosses
then
that had its own challenges.
we then had the problem of whoever claims the middle square has a massive advantage.
Yeah.
And we couldn't write our way out of that no matter how we tried.
So the first thing we did about that was we made it so the game started in the middle square, and therefore you couldn't claim it first round. You had to go elsewhere.
And that
Originally,
rule
we were going to
stayed
just
in.
start like outside the map, but that helped a lot, I think.
But then still on the second round, whoever would claim would have a massive advantage. So
Yeah.
we then decided to negate that by introducing a battle mechanic where before a round, a team could declare a battle for a square the other team controlled, which was played through one of these special cards chosen at random, and essentially was a competitive challenge that both teams played at the same time, and whoever won would either keep or regain that square. The intention being, if the other team claimed the center square, you would battle it and have a chance of claiming it back and flipping it over, and then nobody used it.
Not ideal.
Whoops.
Oh, wait, was this actually in play? Like we could have done this?
yes.
We told you several
Oh,
times.
In fairness, this didn't make it into the cut, I don't think, but there was a point as we were walking to the first square where Jamie had to remind me of what the rules were because I had completely forgotten.
So,
So I
end
guess
user
Jamie's gotta
problem,
mention that.
essentially.
We did remind we at this point we should probably also exclusively reveal behind the scenes on Untitled.mov. There was a bit of producer intervention.
A little bit, yeah.
We
Yeah.
we did not decide the outcome of any of the challenges, first of all, but we were monitoring the game from a Starbucks and giving out challenge and watching what was going on, and we realized that because of the aforementioned bus-related blunder, Ali and Alex had a massive advantage, and basically they were in the top right square before the round for it had started. Meaning that the moment that round starts, they could claim it long before you two had any hope of getting there.
And in the edit, it looks like you realised that all by yourselves.
When we told you,
Yes.
we very much
Because-
hinted.
We
if
we
you-
had to be reminded of the rules. In a
we very much
sense.
said they are there. If you do not act, there is a very good chance you lose.
Yes, we forgot the rules, essentially, which is just brilliant.
I loved you were so confident about not freezing that square. You're like, no, we're going to go for it. And they're like,
And then we pointed out, okay, you could, but you have no chance.
Yes, which we didn't really occur to us until it was pointed out.
This is a bit of producer intervention that we think was acceptable because otherwise
It
the
would've
game
been
would have come
boring.
to a very early end.
Yeah.
that's also why freezers had to exist. So they were a very late addition.
Yes. Actually, one of
This
the
was
earlier
a couple
variations.
of days
One of the
before.
earlier. I'll have to find one of the earlier variations to the rules, but there was an option for a battle of freeze and something reveal a challenge. Essentially,
Ooh,
one
I'd forgotten
of
about that.
yes, one of the early drafts of the rules that we scrapped because it was too complicated was that for every Corey's gone sideways was that for
Oh,
every
it's
challenge
all
you
gone
complete,
sideways.
you would gain a coin, and then you could spend
camera's
3
run
coins
out.
on a battle, 2 coins on a freeze, or 1 coin to find out what the challenge is in a square.
Right, okay.
We
yes,
scrapped
I
that
do,
because it was too
I
complicated.
do remember you talking about coins, yeah.
But yeah, freezes came in very late. So the idea with battles was noughts and crosses very often ends in a draw. We wanted to, if we're going to all this effort, have a winner. That would be
Yes.
quite nice and not go to a tiebreak. And so the idea with battles was you could flip. Originally, you could flip any square, and then we realised we didn't want people to win on a battle. We wanted you to win by completing a challenge.
So we
then it
added the
only
rule
became-
that you couldn't flip a square that would cause you to immediately win if you gain it.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Which did mean that the rules ended up a little bit boring. Well, a little bit complicated, rather.
which is probably where me and Corey failed.
To be fair, Ali and Alex also did fail. Though their choice to freeze middle left was very tactical, and we didn't realize it at the time.
So yeah, on the day I was like, why haven't they battled for the center square? You guys claimed center. We were in. You can imagine the position we were in after 3 rounds. Everything on that board minus the X at the top right.
Yeah, so this wasn't here. It was just the rest of this.
And Ali and Alex had the chance to either freeze a square or to battle. And I thought at the time they should have battled for that middle square, because if that became an O, they would block off your path to victory along that diagonal. They would create a path for themselves along the middle row and the middle column. So they would have essentially 3 paths. You would just have that one on the left column. But that is a risky move. They're not guaranteed to win the battle. And if they lose the battle, then you still have 2 paths and they only have 1.
Yes.
So they kind of played it safe, but in a way that made sense. They stopped you going there, which you were nearer to, and quite possibly would have won if you could have gone there, and instead forced you to head across to the square they were nearer.
Which
Yes.
did put them in a massive advantageous position.
But it wasn't
then
enough,
It wasn't enough.
as you will see.
Because Jamie Parker's winning strategy, well, I guess you'll have to watch it to find out.
Definitely check out the video. It's
Coming out
brilliant.
tomorrow, or possibly today, or possibly already out if you're watching this
No, it's not.
later.